The warning lights flashed red across the Galactic Council monitoring station. Something big was coming through space, and it was heading straight for the neutral zone between two enemy fleets. High Admiral Sora pressed her long blue fingers against the control panel. Her golden eyes studied the readings with growing confusion. The ship on her screen looked nothing like the sleek vessels of her Varian fleet. This thing was thick and heavy, covered in gray metal plates that seemed old and rough. "What is that ugly thing?" asked Commander Dana, leaning over Sora's shoulder. Her silver hair sparkled under the station lights as she pointed at the screen. "It looks like someone built a flying brick." On the other side of the monitoring station, War Chief Bora growled deep in his throat. His red skin darkened with anger as he watched the strange ship approach. The Calthek leader had 4 arms, and all of them were clenched into fists. "Another species trying to interfere in our war," Bora said to his assistant, General Hana. "Their ship looks weak. We could destroy it with one shot?" Hana nodded, her sharp teeth showing in a mean smile. "Should we warn them to turn around, War Chief?" But before anyone could answer, the strange ship began sending signals. The communication came through on all frequencies, clear and simple. "This is Commander Juan of the Terran Battleship Iron Phoenix," the voice said. "We come in peace. We seek to establish friendly contact with all species in this region of space." Sora and Bora looked at each other across the monitoring station. Neither had heard of Terrans before. Both were curious about this new species that dared to fly between their fleets. "Terrans?" Sora whispered to Dana. "Search our databases. Find out what we know about these creatures." Dana's fingers moved quickly over her control panel. After a few moments, she shook her head. "Nothing, High Admiral. No records of any species called Terrans. They must be very new to space travel." Meanwhile, Bora was having the same conversation with Hana. The Calthek general found no information about Terrans in their military files either. "New species are always weak," Bora said with confidence. "They know nothing about real warfare. This could be useful for us." The Iron Phoenix continued its slow approach. It broadcast more messages, explaining that the Terrans wanted to learn about other species and share knowledge. The ship asked for permission to dock at the monitoring. Station Kira, another Varian officer, laughed as she studied the ship's design. "Look at those weapons," she said, pointing at the screen. "They still use solid projectiles instead of energy beams. How primitive can you get?" The Calthek officers were equally amused. They could see the ship's thick armor and heavy construction. To them, it looked like something built by children who did not understand modern technology. "Energy shields are much better than thick metal," Hana said to her fellow officers. "Our weapons can slice through any armor. These Terrans will learn that quickly." But High Admiral Sora was more careful in her thinking. She had commanded fleets for over 200 years. In that time, she had learned never to completely dismiss an unknown enemy. "Their ship may look primitive," she said to Dana, "but they had the courage to fly between our fleets. That shows either great bravery or great stupidity." "Probably stupidity," Dana replied with a smile. Commander Juan continued to broadcast from the Iron Phoenix. His voice was calm and friendly, showing no fear even though he was surrounded by nearly 100 warships. The Varian fleet had 47 ships, while the Calthek Armada had 39 vessels. Each one was much faster and more advanced than the human battleship. "We request permission to send a diplomatic team to your station," Juan said. "We bring gifts from our homeworld and hope to establish trade agreements that benefit all parties." The mention of trade caught both alien leaders' attention. New species often had valuable resources that could be exploited. Both the Varians and Caltheks were always looking for new sources of rare materials. "Let them come," Sora decided. "We can learn about their worlds and decide if they are worth conquering later?" Bora agreed, though for different reasons. "If they are as weak as they appear, we can force them to serve as soldiers in our army. Fresh troops are always useful." The monitoring station sent back a response granting the Terrans permission to dock. Both alien fleets moved closer, positioning themselves around the human ship. They wanted to show their strength and make sure the newcomers understood who was in charge. Aboard the Iron Phoenix, Commander Juan studied the alien fleet positions on his tactical display. His bridge crew worked quietly around him, monitoring the enemy ships and analyzing their weapon signatures. "Sir," said Tactical Officer Bin, "I count 86 hostile vessels. They have us completely surrounded. Juan nodded calmly. He was a veteran of many battles, though none quite like this one. What do you think of their formations, Bin? Bin studied his screens carefully. They are confident, sir. Too confident. Their ships are spread out like they are at a parade. Not expecting a real fight. Chief Engineer 1 looked up from his station. Commander, I have been scanning their vessels. Their hulls are very thin, and they rely heavily on energy shields for protection. Interesting, Juan said. He made a mental note of this information. And their weapons? Pure energy beams, sir, reported Chief Gunner Ray. Very advanced, but they seem designed for long-range fighting only. Juan smiled slightly. These aliens had clearly never faced an enemy that preferred close combat. Their ships and tactics were built for the kind of polite, distant warfare that had become common in their part of the galaxy. The Iron Phoenix slowly approached the monitoring station. Its thick armor plates and visible weapon systems made it look like a floating fortress compared to the elegant alien ships. The human crew could see the alien vessels moving around them, but they showed no signs of fear. Sir, said Communications Officer Lee, the aliens are scanning us continuously. They seem very interested in our weapon systems. Let them scan, Juan replied. They will see exactly what we want them to see. The truth was that the Iron Phoenix was much more dangerous than it appeared. Its designers had built it to look primitive and harmless while hiding its true capabilities. The thick armor was not just for protection, it also concealed advanced systems that the aliens could not detect. As the human ship prepared to dock, both alien fleets watched with growing amusement. The Terrans seemed so confident for such a weak species. This would be an easy conquest once the diplomatic talks were finished. High Admiral Sora spoke to her fleet commanders through a private channel. Prepare boarding teams, she ordered. Once we learn about their worlds, we will take their ship as a prize. War Chief Bora gave similar orders to his captains. Study their weapons carefully, he told them. We want to know how easily we can break them. Neither alien leader realized that they were making a terrible mistake. They saw only what they expected to see, a primitive species with outdated technology. They could not imagine that the humans had chosen this appearance on purpose. The Iron Phoenix completed its docking procedures and extended an airlock to the monitoring station. Soon, the first meeting between humans and the galactic powers would begin. But the aliens had no idea that they were about to encounter something completely different from what they expected. The humans were not the weak, primitive species they appeared to be. They were something much more dangerous, a young race that had learned warfare in the hardest school of all, fighting for survival on their own world. And they were about to teach the galaxy a lesson it would never forget. The airlock opened with a soft hiss, and Captain Minho stepped onto the monitoring station. Behind him came two other humans, Scientist Yuna and Cultural Attaché Tai. All three wore simple blue uniforms that looked plain compared to the fancy clothes of the alien diplomats waiting for them. Ambassador June of the Varian delegation stood at the front of the welcoming committee. His tall, thin body was covered in expensive silk robes that shimmered with built-in lights. Next to him, General Hana represented the Kalthek faction. Her four arms crossed in a display of military power. Welcome, primitive ones, June said, with a smile that did not reach his golden eyes. We are honored to meet such a young species taking its first steps into civilized space. Minho bowed politely, as if he did not notice the insult. Thank you for allowing us to visit your station. My people are eager to learn from such advanced civilizations. Yuna and Tay also bowed, playing their roles perfectly. They had practiced this act many times during the long journey to alien space. The humans wanted to appear humble and harmless, while they learned everything they could about their potential enemies. The alien leaders exchanged pleased looks. These Terrans seemed to know their place already. This would make the conquest much easier than expected. Come, said General Hana, gesturing with two of her arms. We have prepared a meeting room where we can discuss your future in our galaxy. The conference room was large and impressive, with a long table made from some kind of crystal that glowed softly from within. The alien delegates took seats on one side, while the three humans sat across from them. Hidden cameras recorded everything, sending the images back to both fleets. June activated a holographic display that showed maps of local space. Dozens of star systems appeared in the air above the table, each one marked with symbols showing which species controlled it. "This is our territory," the Varian ambassador explained, pointing to a large section colored in blue. "We control 47 systems, each one rich in resources and populated by loyal citizens." General Hana activated her own display, showing 39 systems marked in red. "The Galactic Empire is equally powerful," she said proudly. "Our worlds produce the finest warriors in the galaxy." Minho studied both displays with apparent interest. "Impressive," he said. "My people would be honored to learn from such successful civilizations." What the aliens did not know was that Minho was memorizing every detail. The star charts showed him exactly where the enemy worlds were located and how they were defended. This information would be very valuable if the negotiations went badly. "Tell us about your worlds," June said, leaning forward eagerly. "What resources do you have? How many systems does your species control?" Tay answered carefully, giving just enough information to seem honest while hiding the most important facts. "We control only one system, with 3 inhabited worlds. Our planets have common metals and some agricultural products. Nothing very exciting, I am afraid." The aliens looked disappointed. 3 worlds were barely worth the effort of conquest, but Yuna quickly added more details that caught their attention. "However, our worlds do have large deposits of rare earth elements," she said, "and our agricultural techniques are quite efficient. We can grow food in places where other species would starve." Now the aliens were interested again. Rare earth elements were valuable throughout the galaxy, and efficient food production was always useful. A species that could farm difficult worlds would make excellent servants. "Perhaps we can help each other," June said smoothly. "The Varian Confederacy has advanced technology that your people could benefit from. In exchange, we would only ask for mining rights on your worlds." "A very generous offer," Minho replied. "What kind of technology would you share with us?" June activated another hologram, showing sleek Varian spacecraft and gleaming cities. "Energy weapons, faster-than-light communication, medical technology that can extend your lives by centuries. All of this could be yours." General Hana quickly interrupted. "The Galactic Empire can offer something much better: honor. Your young warriors could train with our armies and learn the true meaning of strength. Together we could conquer new worlds and share the glory." "Also a generous offer," Minho said diplomatically. "Both of your civilizations have much to teach us." While the humans listened to the alien offers, they were also learning valuable intelligence. Every word revealed something about alien capabilities and weaknesses. Yuna took careful notes, though she pretended to be writing down the generous offers. The negotiations continued for several hours. Both alien factions became more demanding as time went on. What had started as offers of partnership slowly turned into demands for submission. "Of course, your people would need guidance," June explained. "Young species often make dangerous mistakes without proper supervision. We would provide administrators to help run your worlds efficiently. And your military would need to be reorganized," added General Hana. "Individual planetary armies are wasteful. Your soldiers would serve better as part of our combined forces." Minho nodded as if he was considering these suggestions seriously. "You have given us much to think about. May I ask what would happen if my people preferred to remain independent?" The question hung in the air like a challenge. Both alien delegates stiffened, and their friendly masks began to slip. "Independence is a luxury that young species cannot afford," June said coldly. "This galaxy is full of dangers. Without protection, your worlds would be conquered by someone much less generous than us." "The ambassador speaks truth," General Hana agreed. "Weak species do not survive long in space. You must choose strong allies, or you will be destroyed by your enemies." Tay looked concerned, playing his role perfectly. "Are you saying that we have no choice but to accept one of your offers?" "You have a choice," June replied with a cold smile. "Choose us or choose them. But choosing neither is not an option that weak species can afford." Meanwhile, aboard the Iron Phoenix, Commander Juan watched the negotiations through the hidden cameras his team had planted. He could see the alien fleets moving into more threatening positions around his ship. "Sir," reported Tactical Officer Bin, Both fleets are powering up their weapons. They are trying to look casual about it, but they are definitely preparing for battle. Chief Engineer 1 looked up from his console. Commander, I have been analyzing the energy readings from their ships. Their weapons are powerful, but they have some interesting weaknesses. What kind of weaknesses? Juan asked. Their energy shields are tuned to stop energy weapons, Juan explained. They probably have not fought anyone using solid projectiles in centuries. Their defensive systems might not handle kinetic impacts very well. Juan nodded thoughtfully. This was valuable information, just like everything his diplomatic team was learning on the station. Back in the conference room, the alien demands were becoming more direct. Both factions wanted exclusive rights to human space, and neither was willing to share. Choose now, June demanded. The Varian Confederacy offers you a future of prosperity under our guidance. The Calthek Empire offers you a chance to earn honor through service, General Hanna countered. But this offer will not remain open forever. Minho looked back and forth between the two aliens, pretending to struggle with the decision. This is a difficult choice. Both offers are very generous. May we have some time to discuss this among ourselves? How much time? June asked suspiciously. 1 hour should be enough, Minho replied. The aliens agreed, though neither looked happy about the delay. They wanted a quick decision so they could begin the conquest. An hour would give the humans time to think, but not enough time to escape or call for help. As the human delegation was escorted to a private room, Minho sent a coded message to the Iron Phoenix. To anyone listening, it sounded like a simple comment about scheduling. I think we might need to cancel our dinner plans tonight, he said to Yuna. Aboard the human battleship, Commander Juan received the message and understood its real meaning. The diplomatic mission had failed, and the aliens were preparing to attack. It was time to show these overconfident species what human warfare really looked like. All hands, prepare for combat, Juan announced over the ship's communication system. This is not a drill. The Iron Phoenix began its own preparations, but unlike the alien ships, the humans were very quiet about it. Their weapons powered up silently, hidden behind thick armor plates. Their defensive systems activated without any visible energy signatures. 2. The watching alien fleets, the human ship looked exactly the same as before, primitive, harmless, and completely outmatched. They had no idea that they were about to face something their advanced civilization had never encountered, a species that had learned warfare not from textbooks, but from centuries of brutal conflict on their own world. The hour of decision was almost over, and the galaxy was about to change forever. The private room felt smaller as the minutes ticked by. Captain Minho sat at a small table with Yuna and Tai, pretending to have a serious discussion about which alien faction to join. But their real conversation was much different. Both sides are getting impatient, Tai whispered, keeping his voice low enough that the hidden microphones could not pick up his words. I can see their ships moving closer through the window. Yuna nodded while pretending to read through the alien proposals. I counted at least 15 weapon types pointed at us. They really think we are helpless. Minho smiled slightly. Good. Let them think that. The more confident they are, the bigger their mistake will be. Outside the private room, the alien delegates were growing more aggressive. Ambassador June paced, back and forth, his golden eyes flashing with impatience. General Hanna stood perfectly still, but her forearms were clenched into fists. These primitive creatures are taking too long, June complained to his aide, Dana. How hard can it be to choose between survival and death? Dana checked her communication device. The Varian fleet is in position, Ambassador. We can take their ship whenever you give the order. On the other side of the station, General Hanna was having a similar conversation with her officers. War Chief Bora wants to know if we should begin the attack, reported Commander Kira. Not yet, Hanna replied. Let the humans finish their little discussion first. It will be more satisfying to crush their hopes after they think they have made a choice. The truth was that both alien factions had already decided the humans' fate. No matter which side the Terrans chose, they would be conquered and enslaved. The only question was which alien fleet would get to fire the first shot. High Admiral Sora watched the human battleship from her flagship's bridge. The Iron Phoenix hung in space like a sitting target, surrounded by nearly 100 alien warships. Its thick armor and primitive weapons looked pathetic compared to the sleek, energy-based vessels of her fleet. "Status report," she ordered her. "Tactical officer?" "All ships are in position, High Admiral," the officer replied. "The human vessel shows no signs of powering up weapons or shields. They either do not know we are preparing to attack, or they are too scared to do anything about it." Sora nodded with satisfaction. "Scan their ship again. I want to know exactly how primitive their technology really is." The scans revealed what appeared to be a simple, outdated battleship. Its weapons were clearly kinetic, metal projectiles fired by magnetic acceleration. Its armor was thick but basic, just layers of steel and composite materials. The ship's power source seemed to be simple nuclear reactors, decades behind current galactic technology. "Pathetic," Sora said with disgust. "How did such a weak species ever develop space travel?" Meanwhile, War Chief Bora was studying the same scan results aboard his command ship. His red skin darkened with amusement as he read the technical details. "Look at this," he said to his weapons officer. "They still use solid projectiles instead of energy beams. Their armor is just thick metal instead of energy shields. They might as well be fighting with stone axes." The weapons officer laughed. "Should we disable their engines, War Chief? We could board them and take prisoners." "Not yet," Bora replied. "Let them finish their surrender first. I want to see the fear in their eyes when they realize how hopeless their situation is." Neither alien commander noticed the subtle details hidden in their scan results. The Iron Phoenix's armor was not just thick, it was also designed in layers that would deflect energy weapons while protecting the ship's true capabilities. The nuclear reactors were not primitive. They were actually advanced fusion plants designed to look like older technology. Most importantly, the ship's weapon systems were far more dangerous than they appeared. What looked like simple kinetic weapons were actually railguns capable of firing projectiles at incredible speeds. The aliens had never fought anyone who used such weapons, so they did not understand what they were seeing. Back in the private room, the hour was almost over. Minho checked his watch and nodded to his team. "Time to go back," he said loudly enough for the microphones to hear. "I think we have reached a decision." The three humans walked back to the conference room, where the alien delegates were waiting with barely controlled impatience. Both sides had moved more ships into threatening positions, and the space around the monitoring station was now crowded with warships. "Have you made your choice?" Ambassador June asked immediately. Minho took his seat slowly, as if he was still uncertain. "This has been a very difficult decision. Both of your offers are generous." "Stop wasting time," General Hana interrupted. "Choose now, or we will choose for you." "I am afraid our choice will disappoint both of you," Minho said calmly. "After careful consideration, my people have decided to remain independent. We thank you for your offers, but we prefer to make our own way among the stars." The silence that followed was deadly. Both alien delegates stared at the human captain as if he had just said something impossible. "Independent?" June repeated slowly. "You choose to be independent." "That is not a choice we are offering," General Hana said coldly. Minho shrugged. "Nevertheless, that is our decision. We are grateful for your time, and we hope we can establish friendly trade relationships in the future." Ambassador June's friendly mask finally disappeared completely. His golden eyes blazed with anger as he stood up from his chair. "You primitive fools have no idea what you are saying," he snarled. "Independence is not something your weak species can afford. You will choose to join the Varian Confederacy, or you will be destroyed." General Hana also stood, her four arms spread wide in an aggressive display. "The Kalthek Empire agrees with the Varian for once. Weak species serve strong ones. That is the natural order of the galaxy." "Perhaps we can discuss this more later," Minho said politely, standing up as if he was preparing to leave. "You are not going anywhere," June said harshly. He pressed a button on his communication device. "Security, seal the conference room. These primitives are now prisoners." The room's doors locked with a solid click. Alien guards appeared outside. The windows, their weapons clearly visible. The three humans were now trapped on the monitoring station, but Minho did not look worried. Instead, he smiled slightly and activated his own communication device. "Iron Phoenix, this is Captain Minho," he said calmly. "Rain check on dinner plans. Repeat, rain check on dinner plans." The aliens looked confused by the strange message. They did not understand that it was a coded signal that meant prepare for immediate combat. "What are you doing?" June demanded. "Saying goodbye to my ship," Minho replied. "I thought they should know that we will be staying here longer than expected." Aboard the Iron Phoenix, Commander Juan received the message with grim satisfaction. The diplomatic mission had failed exactly as he had expected. Now it was time for the galaxy to learn what human warfare really looked like. "All hands, battle stations," he announced over the ship's communication system. "Condition red. This is not a drill." The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency. Tactical Officer Bin powered up the targeting systems. Chief Gunner Ray prepared the main batteries. Chief Engineer 1 diverted power from non-essential systems to weapons and shields. "Sir," reported Communications Officer Lee, "both alien fleets are hailing us. They are demanding our immediate surrender." "Put them on speaker," Juan ordered. High Admiral Sora's voice filled the bridge, cold and commanding. "Primitive humans, you are surrounded and outnumbered. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Resistance is futile." War Chief Bora's voice followed immediately. "Surrender now, and we will allow your crew to live as slaves. Fight us, and we will destroy your ship and everyone on it." Commander Juan walked to the communication console and activated the transmitter. His response was broadcast to both fleets and the monitoring station. "This is Commander Juan of the Terran Battleship Iron Phoenix," he said in a calm, steady voice. "Humanity appreciates your offers, but we must respectfully decline. We prefer to make our own way among the stars." The alien response was immediate and predictable. Both fleets powered up their weapons and began moving into attack formation. Energy signatures spiked across all frequencies as dozens of warships prepared to destroy the single human vessel. "Sir," reported Tactical Officer Bin, "I count 86 enemy ships preparing to fire. They are positioning themselves for a coordinated attack." "Estimated time to first shot?" Juan asked. 30 seconds, sir." Juan nodded and turned to his crew. These men and women had trained for this moment their entire careers. They knew that the next few minutes would determine humanity's future in the galaxy. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said quietly, "today we teach the galaxy that humans do. Not surrender. All batteries, prepare to open fire." The space around the monitoring station erupted into chaos as 86 alien warships powered up their weapons. Energy readings spiked across all frequencies, and the darkness between stars began to glow with the deadly light of charging weapon systems. High Admiral Sora stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching the tactical display with cold satisfaction. Her 47 ships had formed a perfect attack formation around the primitive human vessel. Each ship was positioned to deliver maximum firepower while avoiding hitting their own forces. "Target their engines first," she ordered her fleet commanders. "I want them disabled, not destroyed. Their ship will make an excellent trophy, and their crew will serve as examples to other primitive species." War Chief Bora had similar thoughts aboard his command vessel. His 39 ships had taken positions that would block any escape route the humans might try to use. The red-skinned alien leader bared his sharp teeth in a predatory smile. "Aim for their bridge and weapon systems," he commanded his captains. "Kill their leaders and break their spirit. The survivors will make useful slaves once they understand their place." Neither alien commander had any doubt about the outcome of this battle. The Iron Phoenix was completely surrounded, outnumbered, more than 80 to 1, and armed with primitive weapons that were centuries out of date. This would not be a battle. It would be an execution. On the monitoring station, Ambassador June watched the preparations with obvious pleasure. The boss, 3 human prisoners sat calmly at the conference table, apparently resigned to their fate. "Your ship will be destroyed in less than a minute," he told Captain Minho with mock sympathy. "Perhaps you would like to send them a message telling them to surrender?" Minho shook his head politely. "Thank you, but I do not think that will be necessary." General Hana laughed harshly. "Still pretending to be brave? Your primitive weapons cannot even scratch our shields. This will be over before it begins." "Perhaps," Minho replied calmly, "but my people have a saying, never count your victories before the battle is won." The aliens exchanged amused glances. These humans really had no idea how outmatched they were. It was almost sad to see such ignorance. Aboard the Iron Phoenix, the bridge crew worked with deadly efficiency. Every officer knew their job, and every system was functioning perfectly. The ship might look primitive from the outside, but its crew was anything but amateur. "Enemy fleet positions locked in," reported Tactical Officer Bin. "All targets confirmed and tracked." Chief Gunner Ray checked her weapon systems one final time. "Main batteries loaded and ready, sir. Point defense systems online. All torpedo tubes armed and ready to fire." Chief Engineer Juan diverted power from life support and non-essential systems. "Reactor output at 110%, Commander. All power available for weapons and maneuvering." Commander Juan studied the tactical display, noting how the alien ships had positioned themselves. They were confident and careless, arranging their fleets for maximum firepower rather than maximum protection. It was exactly what he had hoped for. "Sir," said Communications Officer Lee, "the enemy fleets are demanding our final surrender. They say they will open fire in 10 seconds if we do not respond." Juan activated the ship's communication system and spoke calmly into the transmitter. "This is Commander Juan to all alien vessels. Humanity thanks you for your patience, but we must decline your generous offers. We choose to remain free." The response from the alien fleets was immediate and furious. High Admiral Sora's voice crackled with anger as she transmitted on all frequencies. "You have made your choice, primitives. Varian fleet, open fire. Target their engines and weapons." War Chief Bora's voice followed immediately. "Calthek Armada, destroy their bridge. Show these fools the price of defying superior species." The space around the Iron Phoenix lit up as dozens of energy weapons fired at once. Brilliant beams of concentrated plasma and laser energy streaked toward the human battleship from every direction. The aliens expected to see the primitive vessel's shields collapse and its armor melt under the overwhelming assault. Instead, something impossible happened. The energy beam struck the Iron Phoenix's hull and simply disappeared. The thick armor plating absorbed the attacks without showing any damage at all. Laser beams that could slice through normal starship hulls left barely visible scorch marks on the human vessel's surface. "Impossible!" Sora gasped, staring at her tactical display in disbelief. "Our weapons should have destroyed them completely." Bora was equally shocked aboard his command ship. "How are they still intact? No ship can survive that much firepower." The answer was simple, but neither alien commander understood it. The Iron Phoenix had been designed specifically to fight energy-based weapons. Its armor was not just thick, it was also layered with materials that absorbed and dispersed energy attacks. The ship could survive hits that would vaporize vessels built for conventional galactic warfare. But the real surprise was yet to come. Commander Juan watched the alien attack with professional interest. The energy weapons were impressive, but they were exactly what his ship had been built to resist. Now it was time to show these overconfident aliens what human engineering could really do. "Damage report," he ordered calmly. "Minor hull scoring. On decks 7 through 12, reported Chief Engineer Juan. "No structural damage. All systems operating normally." "Excellent. Chief Gunner Ray, you may return fire when ready." Ray smiled grimly as she activated the Iron Phoenix's weapon systems. "Yes, sir. All batteries. Target priority Alpha. Fire!" The human battleship erupted into devastating action. Its main rail guns fired solid projectiles at 15% of light speed, velocities that no alien ship had ever encountered in combat. The depleted uranium shells punched through space faster than the alien sensors could track them. The first salvo struck 3 Varian cruisers before their crews even realized they were under attack. The kinetic projectiles passed through their energy shields as if they were not there, because the shields had been designed to stop energy weapons, not solid matter moving at relativistic speeds. The shells struck the alien hulls with the force of nuclear explosions. The elegant Varian ships, built with thin hulls and lightweight materials, simply disintegrated under impacts they had never been designed to withstand. "Impossible!" Dana screamed from the monitoring station, watching her people's ships die in seconds. "How can solid projectiles move that fast?" The Iron Phoenix did not pause to answer. Its point defense systems engaged the smaller Calthek fighters, filling space with a deadly cloud of high-velocity projectiles. The alien fighters, designed for speed and agility rather than armor, were torn apart by weapons they could not even see coming. War Chief Bora watched in horror as his elite squadrons were destroyed in moments. "All ships, evasive maneuvers. Their weapons are not what they appear to be." But the alien ships had been built for a different kind of warfare. They were fast and maneuverable when fighting other energy-based vessels, but they had no experience dodging solid projectiles that moved faster than their sensors could track. The Iron Phoenix's torpedo launchers fired next, sending nuclear warheads racing toward the alien fleet formations. The aliens had dismissed these weapons as primitive chemical explosives based on their scans, but they had badly underestimated human technology. The nuclear torpedoes detonated among the alien ships with devastating effect. The Calthek vessels, clustered together for maximum firepower, were caught in overlapping blast zones. Their energy shields, designed to stop directed energy attacks, offered no protection against nuclear explosions. High Admiral Sora frantically ordered her remaining ships to retreat, but the Iron Phoenix was not finished. Commander Juan had studied the alien fleet positions carefully, and he knew exactly how to use their formations against them. "Chief Juan, execute maneuver Delta 7, he ordered. "Yes, sir." Juan diverted all available power to the ship's engines and maneuvering systems. The Iron Phoenix suddenly accelerated directly toward the alien fleet formation, moving faster than the aliens had thought possible. The human ship's thick armor absorbed the desperate energy weapon fire from the retreating alien vessels, while its own guns continued to fire with deadly accuracy. "They are ramming us!" General Hanna shouted in panic, watching the human battleship drive straight through the Calthek formation. But the Iron Phoenix was not ramming anything. It was using a tactic that the aliens had never seen before. Close-range combat where heavy armor and powerful weapons could decide the battle in minutes rather than hours. The human ship swept through the alien formations like a shark through a school of fish. Its railguns fired continuously, each shot destroying or crippling an alien vessel. Its point defense systems created a protective bubble of death around the ship, shooting down any fighters or missiles that came too close. In less than 5 minutes, the Iron Phoenix had carved a path of destruction through both alien fleets. Burning wreckage drifted through space, where elegant warships had been moments before. The survivors were already fleeing toward the edges of the system, their formations broken and their confidence shattered. Commander Juan surveyed the tactical display with professional satisfaction. "Damage report," he ordered. "Minor hull damage on the port side," Chief Engineer Juan reported. "Some scoring from energy weapon hits, but all major." The first shots from the Iron Phoenix changed everything. In the space of 30 seconds, the confident alien fleets learned that their understanding of warfare was completely wrong. High Admiral Sora stared at her tactical display in complete shock. 3 of her finest cruisers had simply vanished from the screen, torn apart by weapons she did not understand. The elegant ships that had ruled space lanes for centuries were nothing but expanding clouds of debris. "Report!" she screamed at her tactical officer. "What kind of weapons are those?" The officer's hands shook as he read his instruments. "High Admiral, the projectiles are moving at 0.15 light speed. Our shields cannot stop solid matter at those velocities." "Impossible. No species uses kinetic weapons in modern warfare." But the evidence was right in front of her eyes. The human battleship had fired metal shells faster than anything in Varian records. Those shells had passed through energy shields like they were not there because the shields had been designed for a completely different type of combat. Aboard his command ship, War Chief Bora was having an equally unpleasant revelation. His fighter squadrons, the pride of the Calthek military, were being destroyed faster than he could count them. "How many fighters have we lost?" he demanded. 17 squadrons destroyed in the first minute, War Chief, his tactical officer reported. "Their point defense systems are unlike anything we have seen. They are firing thousands of projectiles per second." Bora's red skin darkened with rage and fear. "All ships, concentrate fire on their point defense systems. Destroy their weapons." But the Iron Phoenix was not fighting like any ship the aliens had ever encountered. Instead of staying at long range and trading energy blasts, the human vessel was charging straight into the alien formations. Its thick armor absorbed hits that would have destroyed any other ship, while its weapons continued to fire with devastating accuracy. Chief Gunner Ray worked with deadly precision, directing the Iron Phoenix's firepower where it would do the most damage. The main railguns targeted the largest enemy ships, while the secondary batteries engaged medium-sized vessels. Point defense systems created a protective bubble around the human ship, destroying anything that came too close. "Target the Varian," Flagship, Commander Juan ordered. Let us see how their admiral handles direct fire. Target acquired, sir, Ray reported. Main batteries ready to fire. Fire! The Iron Phoenix's primary weapons spoke with thunder. 4 railgun shells each, weighing several tons, streaked across space at incredible velocity. High Admiral Sora's flagship tried to evade, but the ship was too large and the projectiles too fast. The first shell punched through the flagship's elegant hull like tissue paper. The second and third shells followed, tearing massive holes in the ship's structure. The fourth shell struck the bridge section directly. Sora felt her ship shudder under the impacts. Emergency alarms screamed throughout the vessel as atmosphere vented into space through the gaping holes in the hull. Damage report, she shouted over the noise. Massive hull breaches on decks 5 through 15, her engineering officer reported. Life support failing, main power offline. We are dead in space. The Varian admiral stared at the tactical display, watching her fleet being systematically destroyed. Ships that had taken years to build were being reduced to scrap metal in minutes. Her crews, trained for decades in proper galactic warfare, had no answer for this brutal human assault. All ships, retreat, she ordered. Fall back to minimum. Safe distance. But retreat was easier to order than to execute. The Iron Phoenix was moving through the alien formations like a predator among prey, using its superior armor and firepower to destroy anything that could not escape fast enough. War Chief Bora was trying to rally his own forces, but the Calthek ships were suffering even worse losses. Their strategy of clustering together for maximum firepower had become a fatal weakness when the humans started using nuclear weapons. Nuclear detonation in Sector 7, his weapons officer reported. The entire 5th Squadron has been destroyed. Bora could not believe what he was hearing. Nuclear weapons? They are using nuclear weapons in ship-to-ship combat? Yes, War Chief. Multiple warheads, high yield. Our shields offer no protection against nuclear explosions. The truth was that galactic civilization had moved beyond nuclear weapons centuries ago. Energy-based weapons were considered more elegant and precise. Nuclear bombs were seen as crude and destructive, suitable only for planetary bombardment or mining operations. But the humans had never stopped improving their nuclear technology. The Iron Phoenix carried fusion warheads with yields measured in gigatons, delivered by torpedoes that could outrun most alien interceptors. To the humans, nuclear weapons were simply another tool of war. The Iron Phoenix continued its devastating attack, carving a path of destruction through both alien fleets. Commander Juan stood calmly on his bridge, directing the battle with the same professional skill he had shown in dozens of conflicts around human space. Status of enemy forces? He asked Tactical Officer Bin. Varian fleet has lost 23 ships destroyed, 11 more heavily damaged. Calthek Armada has lost 19 ships destroyed, 14 damaged. Both fleets are attempting to retreat. Let them go for now, Juan ordered. We have made our point. Chief Engineer Juan looked up from his damage control station. Sir, we have taken some hits to the outer armor. Minor damage to decks 7 through 12, but all major systems are functioning normally. Casualties? None, sir. The alien energy weapons cannot penetrate our main armor belt. Juan nodded with satisfaction. The Iron Phoenix had been designed specifically for this type of combat. Human engineers had studied galactic warfare for years before building their first battleship, and they had designed it to exploit every weakness in alien military thinking. On the monitoring station, the alien delegates watched the battle with growing horror. Ambassador June's golden eyes were wide with shock as he saw his people's fleet being destroyed. "This is impossible," he whispered. "How can one primitive ship defeat our entire fleet?" Captain Minho smiled slightly. "Perhaps we are not as primitive as you thought." General Hana was equally stunned. Her 4 arms hung limply at her sides as she watched Calthek ships exploding on the tactical display. "Your weapons, they should not work. Kinetic projectiles are obsolete." "Obsolete according to whom?" asked scientist Yuna. "Just because you stopped using something does not mean it stopped being effective." The truth was that galactic civilization had become comfortable and predictable. For thousands of years, different species had fought using the same basic strategies and technologies. Energy weapons, energy shields, elegant ship designs, and polite long-range combat had become the accepted way of warfare. But humans had never been part of that system. They had developed their military technology in isolation, fighting brutal wars for survival on their own world. They had never learned that certain weapons were obsolete or that certain tactics were uncivilized. The Iron Phoenix represented everything that galactic military doctrine said was wrong. It was heavily armored instead of fast and elegant. It used kinetic weapons instead of energy beams. It fought at close range instead of maintaining polite distances. And it was absolutely devastating against enemies who had forgotten how to fight such battles. "Sir," reported Communications Officer Lee, "we are receiving surrender requests from several alien vessels. They are asking for terms." Commander Juan considered this for a moment. The aliens had learned their lesson, but he wanted to make sure they understood it completely. "Tell them that any ship that powers down its weapons and retreats to a safe distance will not be fired upon," he ordered. "But make it clear that any vessel that approaches us with active weapons will be destroyed." The message was transmitted to both alien fleets. The response was immediate. Dozens of ships powered down their weapons and began retreating toward the edges of the system. Only a few vessels continued to show aggressive intent, and the Iron Phoenix dealt with them quickly and efficiently. Within 20 minutes of the first shot being fired, the battle was effectively over. The combined alien fleets that had outnumbered the humans 86-1 were now broken and scattered. 42 ships had been completely destroyed, and most of the survivors were damaged and demoralized. The Iron Phoenix hung in space among the wreckage, its thick armor scarred but unbroken. The human crew had proven that sometimes the old ways were the best ways, and that technology was only as good as the people who used it. "Damage assessment complete, sir," Chief Engineer Juan reported. "We can continue combat operations indefinitely, if necessary." "That will not be necessary," Juan replied. "I think we have taught them enough for one day. The galaxy would never be the same. Word of this battle would spread to every species in known space, carrying with it a simple message. Humanity had arrived, and they would not be conquered easily. But the humans were not finished yet. They still had friends to rescue and a new relationship with the galaxy to establish. The real work was just beginning. The silence after the battle was broken only by the quiet hum of the Iron Phoenix's engines and the distant emergency signals from damaged alien ships. Floating debris from destroyed vessels glittered in the starlight, reminders of how quickly everything had changed. Commander Juan stood on his bridge, studying the tactical display that showed the scattered remains of two proud fleets. His crew worked quietly at their stations, monitoring the alien ships that were retreating to safe distances. The humans had won a complete victory, but Juan knew that the real challenge was just beginning. "Sir," reported Communications Officer Lee, "we are receiving distress signals from multiple alien vessels. Many have survivors trapped in damaged sections." Juan nodded. This was the moment that would define humanity's future relationship with the galaxy. The aliens expected the humans to finish off the wounded ships or leave them to die in space. That was how most galactic wars were fought. Total victory meant total destruction of the enemy, but humans had different ideas about honor and warfare. "Launch all rescue shuttles," Juan ordered. "Priority goes to ships with life support failures. Chief Medical Officer Sol, prepare the medical bay for alien casualties." The bridge crew exchanged glances. They had just fought a brutal battle against these aliens, and now they were being ordered to save their lives. But they trusted their commander's judgment and followed his orders without question. "Sir," said Tactical Officer Bin hesitantly, "some of the alien ships are still armed. They might fire on our rescue shuttles." "Then we will have to trust that they are intelligent enough not to shoot at people trying to save their lives," Juan replied. "If they do attack our rescue teams, we will deal with that problem when it happens." The Iron Phoenix's shuttle bays opened, and small rescue craft began flying toward the damaged alien vessels. The shuttle pilots were nervous but determined, knowing that their actions would be watched by every species in the galaxy. On the monitoring station, the alien delegates watched in amazement as human rescue teams began saving their people. Ambassador Jun could not believe what he was seeing. "They are helping the survivors," he said in wonder. "After destroying our fleets, they are actually trying to save lives." Captain Minho smiled slightly. "Did you think we were monsters? We fight when we must, but we do not enjoy killing." General Hana was equally confused. In Caltech culture, defeated enemies were either enslaved or executed. The idea of helping them was completely foreign to her thinking. "Why?" she asked simply. "Why save people who tried to destroy you?" Cultural attaché Tai answered thoughtfully. "Because that is what civilized beings do. You called us primitive, but perhaps you have forgotten what civilization really means." Meanwhile, the rescue operations continued throughout the debris field. Human shuttle crews worked alongside alien survivors to extract trapped personnel from damaged ships. Medical teams treated wounded aliens with the same care they would give to human patients. Dr. Sull, the Iron Phoenix's chief medical officer, found herself treating a badly injured Varian commander named June, who had been caught in an explosion aboard his cruiser. The alien's golden skin was burned, and he had several broken bones, but his injuries were not life-threatening. "Why are you helping me?" the Varian commander asked weakly. "Your people just destroyed my ship." Dr. Sull continued working on his injuries with professional skill. "Because you are hurt, and I am a doctor. Politics does not matter in my medical bay." The commander stared at her in confusion. "But we were enemies just an hour ago." "We were opponents in battle," Dr. Sull corrected him gently. "That does not make us enemies forever. My job is to heal people, regardless of what species they are." Similar scenes were playing out throughout the rescue operations. Human crews were saving alien lives while alien survivors struggled to understand why their former enemies were helping them. The concept of mercy in warfare was almost unknown in galactic military culture. High Admiral Sora was rescued from her damaged flagship by a human shuttle, crew led by Lieutenant Kang. The Varian admiral was physically unharmed, but psychologically shattered by her defeat. She had commanded fleets for 2 centuries and had never experienced anything like the human attack. "Your weapons?" she said to Lieutenant Kang as the shuttle carried her to safety. "How do they work? How can solid projectiles move so fast?" Kang shrugged. "Magnetic acceleration. We call them railguns. The technology is not really that complicated." "But no one uses kinetic weapons in modern warfare," Sora protested. "They are inefficient compared to energy weapons." "Inefficient against what?" Kang asked. "Your energy shields work great against energy weapons, but they are useless against solid matter. We just use the right tool for the job." Sora fell silent, thinking about the implications. Her people had become so focused on perfecting energy-based warfare that they had forgotten about other possibilities. The humans had simply chosen a different path, and that choice had made them nearly invincible against conventional galactic forces. War Chief Bora was pulled from the wreckage of his command ship by a human rescue team led by Sergeant Park. The red-skinned alien leader was badly injured but still alive. As the humans carried him to their shuttle, he asked the question that was bothering him most. "You could have left us to die," he said painfully. "Why risk your lives to save your enemies?" Sergeant Park thought about the question as he applied medical treatments to the aliens' wounds. "You are not our enemies," he said finally. "You were people who made a bad decision. There is a difference." "I do not understand." "You attacked us because you thought we were weak," Park explained. "You were wrong, and we had to defend ourselves, but that does not mean we want to kill every alien in the galaxy. We just want you to leave us alone." The rescue operations took several hours to complete. When they were finished, the Iron Phoenix had saved more than 3,000 alien lives from both fleets. The ship's medical bay was crowded with wounded aliens, but the human medical staff worked tirelessly to treat everyone. Commander Juan visited the medical bay to check on the alien wounded. He found High Admiral Sora sitting on a medical bed, her injuries treated and her dignity slowly returning. "Commander," she said formally, "I must thank you for saving my people's lives. Your mercy is unexpected." Juan nodded politely. "We are not barbarians, Admiral. We fight when necessary, but we do not kill for pleasure." "Your weapons," Sora said hesitantly. "They are far more advanced than we realized. How did your species develop such technology?" "By fighting for our survival," Juan replied honestly. "My people have been at war for most of our history. We learned to build weapons that work, not weapons that look impressive." Sora was quiet for a moment, thinking about the implications. "The Galactic Council will want to meet with your species. Today's battle will change everything." We hope so, Juan said. We came here seeking peaceful contact with other species. We only fought because you gave us no choice. The conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Captain Minho and his diplomatic team, who had been released from the monitoring station after the battle ended. The three humans looked tired, but unharmed. "Commander," Minho reported, "the alien delegates are requesting formal negotiations. They want to discuss humanity's entry into the Galactic Council." "As junior members?" Juan asked. "As equals," Minho replied with a slight smile. "Apparently, our demonstration changed their perspective on human capabilities. Over the following days, negotiations proceeded much more smoothly than before. The aliens no longer saw humans as primitive creatures to be conquered or guided. Instead, they recognized them as a powerful species that had chosen a different path of development. Cultural attaché Tai found himself working closely with surviving alien officers to establish new diplomatic protocols. The galaxy's understanding of warfare had been fundamentally changed, and new rules were needed to prevent future conflicts. "Your species fights very differently from ours," observed the Varian ambassador June, who had been rescued from the monitoring station. "Yes," Tay agreed. "We learned warfare from necessity, not from textbooks. Sometimes that makes us more effective, but also more dangerous." "Dangerous to enemies," General Hanna added thoughtfully, "but merciful to the defeated. This is a strange combination." "Not strange," Tay replied. "Practical. Dead enemies cannot become friends, but living enemies might learn to respect you." The negotiations resulted in humanity being granted full membership in the Galactic Council, with the same rights and responsibilities as any other species. More importantly, the galaxy gained a new understanding of what strength really meant. News of the battle spread throughout known space at faster-than-light speeds. Every species learned that the newcomers called humans had destroyed 2 major fleets in less than an hour, then spent several more hours saving the lives of their enemies. The message was clear. Humanity was powerful enough to defend itself, but civilized enough to show mercy. 6 months later, the first joint human-alien research station opened near the site of the battle. Commander Juan served as its first commander, working alongside former enemies who had become reluctant allies. The station was named Phoenix Station, in honor of the ship that had changed galactic history. The station's motto was suggested by Captain Minho and approved by all participating species: peace.